All right, we are on to Jacksonville. I think the Browns might have been the kings of the week one overreaction, or maybe not. Eric, let's look forward here. A bad week one, but we got Jacksonville coming up.
Yep, just another week one misery that we are unfortunately accustomed to many times here in Cleveland. But let's take a look at some positives. Jaguars are coming off a game where Trevor Lawrence only threw for 162 yards. Their defense surrendered 338 yards to Tua. They gave up a 14-0 lead. And they were able to, and Trevor Lawrence was sacked 3 times. They did have some good running yardage, 128 yards on the ground, but we don't need to talk about that because that's not positive. Um, so so I mean they're definitely a beatable team. They have not lived up to what they had been doing early last year before the ankle injury to Trevor Lawrence. So obviously it's a long season and they're definitely not hitting their stride, especially in their passing game. Obviously what it's going to come down to is what can the Browns do on offense? They were very, very underwhelming last week. Pretty pathetic in the first half. Um, I don't know exactly what's going on with our quarterback position. Once again, this is not 2022. This is 2024, but we're still apparently answering the same questions. That being said, whoever's behind center, how about you not wait until third quarter to actually move the ball and score some points or even get a first down or two? Whoever's behind center, they got to keep the Browns within striking distance. I know I just said an example of Jacksonville coughing up a large lead, but I think if we go into a second week in a row where we're behind in a sizable amount in the second half, I don't know if the defense and special teams are going to bail us out, especially with no evidence that they can bail us out this year. They gave up a punt return touchdown. Their defense, that first drive looked really great, but after that, CD Lamb, anytime he touched the ball, was making it positive yardage. So, um, you know, there's going to be tough matchup this week with Jacksonville. Maybe not as well as CD Lamb, but it's not going to make it too much easier. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, you got to shake off whatever happens and start anew on Sunday.
I feel like we've had Trevor Lawrence in a lot of our nightmares as Ohio sports fans. But you go back to the most recent game, week 14 of last year, what we had 31-27 victory, defeating the Jags, a couple differences. This was in Cleveland, and we had a different quarterback, which is the bummer here. Joe Flacco led that team 311 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think that's the bar for how bad of a week this has been and how poor the offense has been. I think the fans are going to just have a shorter set of patience with Deshaun. Speaking of short patience, Drew, how are you looking at this game coming up here?
Well, I'm trying not to just smash the panic button, but it is very much in reach here. I am, try to stay positive, right? I look at some of the positives here. We didn't lose to a team from the southern part of our state. We never do that. Unlike the certain team that we're playing against, right? That must be rough. I'm sort of grasping at straws here to equate the Jaguars' pain to what we felt. I don't think either team played all that well. I think Jacksonville was obviously much more competitive, but ultimately both teams fell really short, and the offenses didn't look great on either side. Really, when you look at what Jacksonville is theoretically capable of and what they did, and what the Browns are, and the word theoretically is going to do some heavy lifting here. What the Browns are theoretically capable of and what they did, there's a lot to be desired on both sides there. So somebody's going to get right in this game. One of these two offenses will get right. That's my prediction, and my hope is that it is the Browns. We'll see. Obviously, I have no there. There is nothing I can point to from the Dallas game to say this is why they're going to get right. There's not a single thing you can look at, which is the really concerning part of all of this, right? It's not like last year where, well, if they would just stop turning it over, well, if they could get the running game going, there was always some part of it that was okay, and that week one there was not much there. But we'll try to keep the brand going here, Ryan. I'm doing my best, and you hope that the real Browns walk through the door in Duval County.
This is why you should believe in the Browns this week. This was the most glorified preseason game against the Cowboys. Tom Brady's start to his broadcasting career for real. Many of our players did not, Deshaun did not play in the preseason. This team, even though some of the pieces and parts and the coaching staff has been around for a while, I think across the NFL, continuity in offenses was the only reason why a lot of teams did well. There was a lot of teams that struggled, because of how teams are treating the preseason, a lot of young quarterbacks as well. But the Browns, yes, they should be further ahead, but we're still struggling with continuity, and Deshaun Watson having continuity with this offense, some new pieces that we've added. Arik, I guess, I don't know what side to be. I am more afraid about Trevor Lawrence, but Jacksonville has made some changes to their defense. Is there a defensive change here with going from the Cowboys to the Jags? It should be an easier challenge this coming week.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons for starters. I mean, honestly, I feel like once again, the Browns have the more talented roster. They have the better players. So the Browns should be the one dictating the matchups, not being concerned of who do we need to stop, who do we need to block, who do we need to watch out for. Trevor Lawrence, had a very subpar game by his standards. I expect him to pick it up, hopefully not this week. But, even if he is slinging the ball around, I don't, see his weapons to be top tier elite, top the league. And I expect our secondary to kind of shut down all those receiving options that he has. So, I mean, like I said, we should be the aggressors, the initiators of winning that line, point of attack, that line of scrimmage, which has been our our weak link for offensive line all preseason, all regular season long. So I would hope that whoever's at left tackle and the other four guys can kind of move the pocket, get us out of that 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. I think the one stat was 48% or so of third downs were 7 or 8 yards or longer for the Browns last week. And that's stuff I remember in 2000 and 2001 and 2009, like multiple years where we just had bad quarterback play, bad offensive line, no running game, and we're forced to punt on a great deal of occasions. And it all starts with the line. So I'm hoping at least Jed Wills, Jack Conklin, one of them can play this week. And I know they will not be going up against a defensive front the way we just did. So I would hope that we can open up some holes and give the quarterback time to set his feet, throw the ball, or whatever he needs to do. If it's scramble, just get yards, get first downs, and God willing, touchdowns.
Look at the Browns secondary. It wasn't too long ago, this game against Jacksonville, Martin Emerson, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Greg Newsome had an interception, 3 in total against Trevor Lawrence. Drew, I'll give you the last word here. If the Browns do win this, what do you think is the storyline coming out of this game?
I think it's probably something along the lines of the Browns defense is back. Just something like that. They, if you look at their last 2 games, this looks like one of the worst defenses in the league, right? It certainly isn't that. But if you look at the wild card game in Houston and then week 1, it is pretty ugly if you look at just that small sample size. So I think if the Browns win, I think the storyline is, this defense is back to being among the league's best. That's my hope. That's my take. That's, if you look into the crystal ball, that's how this team could win this game. And unfortunately, I think that's how this team has to win every game.
Keeping the positivity there, Drew. Thank you. This is going to be a tough game this weekend, going down to Jacksonville. Thing to keep in mind, though, 2 tough games to start against some of the NFL's better teams. After this, we've got the Giants, Raiders, Commanders. A great opportunity to bounce back. But if the Browns pull this one out, great shape to continue the start of this season. So let's go Browns. We'll see what happens.
Go Browns.